And we are back to talk about the newest Marvel show, of course. Once again, we're back on that. And it's Loki, season two. Now, to recap, you and I actually
Mm.
quite liked Loki season one when it first came out.
Yes,
So,
absolutely. I mean, it's strange that that people kind of see Loki as the thing that's gonna save, at least, if not the Marvel universe, the Marvel streaming. That like it's the kind of the flagship show. Kind of in the same way that Mandalorian is like the flagship show of Star Wars. That people kind of look to Loki as the one that people are really signing up to Disney Plus for, right? Because it's
yeah,
not
that's true. WandaVision, Loki, and I I remember the others, but other than WandaVision and Loki, I don't like who's really signing up for, not to be an asshole, but who's really signing up for Miss Marvel or
right, or
Hawkeye?
even Falcon and the Winter Soldier or Secret Invasion or things like that. Like
Hmm.
those aren't or Moon Knight. I'm like naming them all, and it's not that I didn't like some of the shows. I thought Moon Knight was pretty solid. Falcon Winter Soldier was okay. Secret Invasion was pretty horrible. but Loki, we really enjoyed Loki season one. I think I really enjoyed WandaVision too, but Loki, um, kind of the acting performances and everything. It was something that was just like I can't miss, like the next week, kind of thing. And now it's back. It's back. In fact, they moved it up. It was going to be released later, and they moved it up
Hmm.
so that you know.
How do we feel about the first two episodes? I personally think it hasn't really missed a beat, in my opinion. I think it's still the first two episodes,
Mm,
just as good as like the first couple episodes of Loki season one. We'll have to see though, because IGN got the first four episodes, and
yeah.
their review of the first four, I think gave it a six or a seven. Which, ugh, no.
So I'm a little mixed. I'm a little mixed on things because um, it was a little jarring because how we left, like the plot line of season one, and how Loki is treated by the TVA and how he's treated by Mobius, and the goals of everything are very different than in season two. Like we had this big break, and we ended this Loki season one thinking that, oh, the TVA has been remade anew, uh, with under Kang. But in
He who
fact,
remains.
yeah, he who remains. But in fact, that was an illusion for us because Tom Hiddleston, I mean, Loki went into the past of the TVA, which was supposed to be outside of time and stuff like this. And so actually the TVA is the same. It's, well, not the same, but where Loki left off from it. Um, and so it was a little jarring because I really expected to see this new TVA, and and then once they kind of established status quo again, or as much as status quo, like Tom Hiddleston is now like, I mean, I keep calling him the actor. Loki is like now it seems like an agent that can walk freely through the TVA, and uh, I don't know, a lot of characters are gone and new characters are appearing, and the it's a little, I would say the plot is a little confusing. It's a little confusing to know what's going on because they established this rather complicated premise in the first season that, okay, there's one timeline in the world, and this is an organization outside of time that prunes timelines when people have free will decisions. Um, but then, so at the end of time, they killed the he who remains, and now everything is different. But how that actually works now is a little confusing. Like there's this loom, and there are branching timelines, but they're cutting them off. But shouldn't, if he who remains like died at the end of the universe, shouldn't the branching timelines be from like the beginning of time, and all sorts of things that are just perplexing to me at this moment. Maybe it'll be cleared up later, but it doesn't seem like it quite jibes with the logic of the first season. Do you get that
So
feeling?
I do, but this is one of those shows where this is I don't know if you feel the same way. By the way, I disagree with you about about when Loki at the very end of Loki season 1 and into the beginning of season 2. But before that,
Mm,
I I this is one of those shows where I agree with you. It's confusing when I'm not watching it, but when I'm watching it, I'm like, "Oh, right, of course. That makes
yes,
sense."
yes,
Like
yeah.
it's so weird. I agree with you. Like as you're saying that, I'm like, yeah, what does that even mean? But the moment I start watching it again, I'm like, oh right, of course, I didn't see that. Right? Yeah, when they explain it,
And I think so. The strength of the show is again these incredibly strong acting performances, where and there's a lot of great time for the show to breathe, where just it's just two people in a room talking, and you get to play off of, whether it be Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston um, or uh, the in the last episode, the character that plays the hunter, and they spent a lot of time like in a room with this hunter guy having like very intense conversations that are it's really great, or like just or all the scenes with Ki Hun Kwan and how funny they are, and how interesting that is. Like I really enjoy all of these scenes, and I really enjoy all of the acting performances. Like everybody's really trying really hard. It does seem very fast moving and very confusing. Uh, I'm not really sure what everyone's motivation is. Like what is? I mean, what is Loki trying to do right now? Is he trying to escape? Is he trying to find Silva? Is he trying to save the universe? Like
yes. I'm gonna
yes,
go ahead and
all of the
say
above.
all of
Yeah.
the above. It seems like it seems like the TVA is fractured. You have loyalists to Dox, played by
Mm,
Kate Dickey of from Game of Thrones, Lysa
yes.
Arryn.
Crazy accent she put on, right? Where is she
Yeah.
from?
Somewhere England. Have you noticed every time we see her in anything, she's always in a high position of authority, and she's always kind of a douche. You ever notice that?
Oh,
Every role.
it's so funny, right? That they're like, "Oh, do we need a woman who seems like she would be a Nazi?" Right? Like seems like she'd be a Nazi
It's so
officer.
true.
Oh, do we have who do we have for that? Oh, Kate Dickey. Like it just seems like it is like it's like you need a crazy uptight like authoritarian Kate, then oh, Kate Dickey.
Kate Dickey,
But
yeah, no,
man, yeah,
and if
but
you need
she's
like the
great.
Asian best friend who's like really lovable, that guy that he was the guy from this OB from this you said his name is K Hugh Kwan.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Kate
That
Kwan.
him he's that character.
It's true that he's always yeah he always plays like these like lovable cute like like lovable cute characters, but also amazingly he's always the fucking gadget guy. Like why is he always the fucking gadget guy?
He looks like a guy
Um,
who would be a gadget guy, even in real life. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna be real
right,
with
but I'm
you.
talking like Goonies. He's the gadget guy, and he's kind of the gadget guy in this, and he's the gadget guy in Everything All at Once.
Well, I mean,
So
it's kind of like how everyone thinks by looking at you that you used to play basketball in high school or college, and you did not do
yeah,
that, did you?
I mean, I played pickup games. I played some basketball, but no, I wasn't on the high school team or anything like that.
The one thing
Mm,
I will say I disagree with you on is when Loki season 1 ends, we both thought like, oh, because the sacred timeline has been fucked with after Sylvie kills He Who Remains, this is a different alternate reality version of the TVA. I'm
right.
so I'm so glad it's not that. I'm so happy because that would add more to the fucking confusion. I'll be very real with you. I'm glad
It's
it's the past.
true. I think some people suspect that there was walking back that because they wanted to lessen the role of Jonathan Majors.
Mm,
Um, yeah. So the for those that don't know, like Jonathan Majors is the actor that plays Kang, and he plays in Loki, he who remains, and in Ant Man he plays King the Conqueror. But in real life, he's had some legal issues, to put it nicely, to put it
He was cleared
mildly.
of all charges, though. Like it came out he was cleared
Yeah.
of everything, but I think the damage was already done, unfortunately.
Yeah. And so, considering he was like tapped to be the big multi-movie baddie over several Marvel properties leading up to the Avengers movie, which is going to be in two parts. Like, it's a really big thing to have a somebody, legal issues on a character, on an actor like this. Like, this is much bigger than even say, like, Ezra Miller having problems, and it affecting uh, both the DCU and the Fantastic Beasts series and things like that. So um but yeah, so some people think maybe it had to do with that, but
That's a good
that they
theory.
had
I
to.
like that. I like that
Yeah, I
theory.
mean, it's maybe. I mean, he does appear. We've seen him in the previews, so we know that Jonathan Majors is appearing.
But it was probably
But
all recorded or concurrent recording with like what was happening with him, or
yeah,
maybe he shot every scene. What I assume is going to happen is Marvel is probably going to give it time so it all goes away. Because remember what the thing what happened with James Gunn? They fire him, and then eventually time passes, they bring him back.
right. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. is the fucking golden child of the Marvel universe, and Robert Downey Jr. of course had his big problems. Um, the and so I mean, I guess time for everybody forgives things over time. I guess it all depends. I guess
Speaking
it
of
all
time,
depends.
time is wacky in this new season 2 of Loki. In the new season of Loki, it's wacky. I'm kind of glad the time travel shenanigans ended episode 1, because that would have been kind of annoying, but it was fine. They did it in a nice way. We kind of have a nice theory floating around that OB is kind of the key to all this, because as we saw, I believe He Who Remains wipes everyone's memory every once in a while. Originally he
Yeah,
was at front and center on the statue, but then it like changes to the timekeepers, the three squid alien
yeah.
lizard alien guys.
I don't know if the time travel really works. You know how, like, they find out where Sylvie is, right? And then they go to find Sylvie, and he's like, "Oh, I saw you in the future." And shouldn't her first reaction be like, "Which future of which timeline? What are you talking about?" But he just said the future, as in, and I think he meant like the future of the TVA. But she shouldn't have known he meant the future of the TVA. She should have just been like, "Well, what do you mean the future?" Like, there's weird stuff like that, like with
Well, she's under
time,
the
or
impression that the future like doesn't like the future hasn't been written yet because she killed He Who Remains.
but then where is the TVA? Like, I understand that she killed he who remains at the end of the universe. So whatever, like a trillion years in the in the future, at the end of time, she kills he who remains. So now there's free will, but when she says like the future, what does she mean? Because she's clear, like, why did she pick a, because she's in like 1985, right?
Hmm.
Like, what does she mean, like, people don't know the future? Like, shouldn't the TVA know the future? Like, and like, like, I don't understand that. Like, even if you're saying
I'm
like,
assuming.
where does the
Well, I'm
TVA exist?
outside of time. It exists outside of time, and I'm assuming because of what she did, everything's all screwy, as we saw in episode 1. Like everything's going haywire. However, we do know that He Who Remains likes to wipe people's memories, like of the TVA staff. But I think the key is OB, because he's forgotten by everybody every time. He, I think He Who Remains did not wipe his memory.
I'm just saying, like, why is she in like 1985? Like, why wouldn't they, and when they go to visit her, why wouldn't they go like right when she arrived, like, or later, 10 years later? Like, when they went to pick up that hunter who became a movie star, it seemed like he was had a good 6 months or a year to establish himself as an actor, to have a movie put out.
Mm-hmm.
And that was in between the first and the second episodes, right? Because the first episode ends and all the hunters are like sent out.
Right.
And then the second episode happens. And I mean, we don't know how much time has passed in the TVA, but it seems like for him, it's been like a year.
Once again, because the TVA stands outside of time, it doesn't really matter. Like forever could pass on Earth, like hundreds of years, and it would seem like seconds in the TVA. But I
Right,
see
then,
what you
but
mean.
then how would the TVA not know the future of all timelines? I just don't get it. Like it doesn't make any sense.
That's what I'm
Like they
saying. I'm
talk about
assuming it's
things
because
starting to
killing
branch, like
killing he who remains fucks it up, I guess.
I understand, but like talking about time and time travel, like obviously it never makes sense.
No.
But for her to be like, oh, we don't know the future, like how would she know that they don't know the future? Maybe that like her timeline has been allowed to branch for a long time and they completely know her future. It's just so weird. Or even like when they talk about like the desperation of, I mean, I guess this goes back to first season, like the desperation of branching timelines. Like if you're outside of time, don't you have all the time in the world to go back and try to neutralize that branching timeline? You have
True.
infinite time to do that. So it's like none of it makes sense, which is fine. I think it's not supposed to make sense. But um, on positive things, because I don't want to just like spin around here and talk about time travel and you know tie ourselves up, because that's what's going to happen. It's like the scene from Looper, like where Bruce Willis is like, no, we're not going to talk about it. It's like, or else we're going to be drawing diagrams all day. Like I love that. I love that. But um I think the gadget design and it's just been, they stepped it up. There's a lot of cool gadgets and a lot of cool art on designing stuff this season that I've really liked. Like I like the concept of the loom. Did you get the pun about
No, I
the
didn't.
timeline of the temporal loom, the temple
Temporal
of
loom.
doom, the temporal loom, the temple
Oh.
of doom, right? And you've got the short round actor,
Mm-hmm.
the temporal loom, the temple of doom. Yeah, but I liked just like the suit, and in the second episode the machine he uses to torture the guy, and that box situation. It was just very well done. Very creepy, like the guy being inside that shrinking box and stuff like that. There's a lot of great set design and a lot of great little gadgets and stuff like that in the episode. And there was some, I guess, there's some fun humor in the first episode, that time travel scene where he's like talking to Obi in the past and then talking to Obi in the present and stuff like
I
that.
love
But
that. Yeah.
yeah, so there's some fun stuff, but I think the overall plot is a little messy, but mm, mm,
I see what you're saying, and yeah, I agree with you. The time travel stuff can get a little wonky, but like I said, once you're watching it, it kind of makes
yeah,
sense.
it's
And then the
fun.
moment you stop, and it's like, mm. But no, I love that
Right.
they included this actor, Kyu Ho Kwan. He's great. They're also giving more screen time to some of the background actors we got last season, like the desk clerk guy who was charged with
Yeah.
tracking Renslayer's tempad. That I like that guy. I love that he wants OB's autograph. That was a sweet moment. I really like that. Owen Wilson, still love him. Still great as
Hmm.
Mobius. Even Brad. Brad, I hated him, but great
Oh,
character as
I
well.
love Brad. I love Brad. Yeah, Brad the hunter. No, I thought he was great. I actually started feeling for him. I thought, did you think the product placement of McDonald's was a little much?
Is it product placement? Because I don't
Because
know. Like,
at no point do they, like, if it were not product placement, wouldn't they describe the place as a shithole, or like you're working fast food? Wouldn't there be some degradation of McDonald's at some point?
I guess, but I wasn't alive in the 80s. Was McDonald's super cool back in the 80s? I know it was cheaper, but
It was the same shit. It was the same,
really,
like there's
same
nothing.
thing.
Yeah.
No
Yeah, it was the
difference.
same thing. It was the same thing. Um, we can talk about McDonald's a little bit. There was a slight difference that,
Hmm.
so in the very early '80s, they used to cook the French fries in the beef tallow, and the
Mm.
French fries were like McDonald's French fries were astounding. Like you didn't even need to eat them with ketchup. Like people would just eat them because they were just so good.
Hmm.
And then like a health report came out that that McDonald's French fries were like 2,000 calories or 1,000 calories, and everyone was like, "What?" And they're like, "We've switched to vegetable oil." Like, and immediately there was this immediate change from like the beef tallow to the vegetable oil. Um,
That sucks.
yeah, yeah, but so there was that change, but I mean, it was still considered a shithole. It was still considered like fast food. I mean, there's no, um, there's nothing really that different about it. Um,
If you really
but
wanted to
so
hit me in the nostalgia feels, to go off this real quick, if you really wanted to hit me real quick, Wendy's in 2001 fucking hit different. Yellow Wendy's, oh my god, is 1,000 times better than Wendy's now. I was like a Wendy's guy back in the early 2000s.
when yeah, so there is actually having friends who why we're on this tangent, but having friends who have worked at McDonald's and Wendy's, I will tell you that Wendy's is a fly by night operation where they're trying to cut costs at any moment. So like you go to work at Wendy's, they will put you on the register, they will put you on the line immediately, like that day. While McDonald's has like a week-long training program,
Hmm.
and you like watch videos and like you learn the process, and there's manuals on like how to make everything, and everything is like paint by numbers. Well, Wendy's is just like fucking make the hamburgers, like go go go. Well, and like McDonald's has all these like programs for like um for school and tuition reimbursement and like management like opportunities. Like there's this entire business structure to McDonald's that is like, from like everybody that I've ever met that have worked for McDonald's like has very positive things to say about their work experience at McDonald's, which is really
Hmm.
strange. While everybody that I've known that has worked for Wendy's or something, it's just been like, nah, that place sucked. Like now at the end of the day, the food is they're good at both places, right? Or the same, I would say. But it's kind of
I
funny.
don't know. Like I said, Wendy's in the early 2000s it just hits different. In the early 2000s, yellow Wendy's just hit different. But no, like I said, OB might be the key to the whole thing. Maybe He Who Remains, when he starts when he was wiping people's memories and changing the TVA every so often. Maybe he forgot to change OB's memories. Maybe OB remembers all of this. OB for me came away the new main star of the
Mm,
show.
mm, mm. Yeah, I feel I'm trying to think who else is like, so the actress I want to say, is this Hunter B15. She's the one
Yes.
that was really taken, that was really emotionally changed by finding out that she had a life before.
Mm.
She's played by Wunmi Mosaku. Um, she she's kind of like the one emotional character. Like everybody else is kind of very irreverent and cavalier about the fact that they're trimming billions of people out of existence and universes are getting destroyed. And everybody's just like, oh well, go go on about our business, and she's the one person that seems to care.
Oh,
So
and
I guess you
Mobius cares, but Mobius's whole thing about not wanting to go and find out who he really was or really cares
that was a
about it.
great scene.
That
That
was
was
a
a great
great scene, and he
scene.
makes a good
Yeah.
point. Like, what if my life sucked? I don't know. What if it
Yeah.
did? Like, who knows? I don't want to know. I kind of like that.
Well,
Like,
yeah. What if it was great? Yeah. I think he
eh,
cares if it was great. He doesn't want to know. He's scared that he would have liked it. And, but
he likes what he
it
does
is
now, so
it is weird that all of a sudden they cared about the prune timelines at the end, and they're all very sad.
well, because
Like,
I'm sure they didn't know the prune timelines were technically killing trillions of people. So
yeah, yeah. But it's also hard because it's multiverse. It's hard to feel the stakes when you're just like, well, just wait a second, and there's going to be a whole bunch of more timelines. So, I granted they don't exist yet, and there's this more like, like moral situation of that, but it is weird when it's like, well, there's going to be, wait a second, and a new timeline is going to diverge, so it's fine.
Well, the problem with not pruning the timelines, it's you have to, because otherwise a variant of Kang emerges, and that's a problem. So yeah,
Right.
you have to keep doing it, otherwise you're gonna cause trouble with all these variants running around, like we saw at the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania.
Right.
They're gonna
Right.
come out of nowhere and they're gonna cause problems, and you got to
Yeah.
keep doing it despite killing trillions of people.
Right. And I mean, that'll, I kind of understand the logic of that in the end, like the process of, okay, you've got infinite timelines, you get infinite Kangs who go and have a huge war against each other because there's infinite Kangs. So you can really only have one, you have to kill off all the other Kangs and all the other timelines to only have one Kang in order to keep everything stable. But if you kill that Kang, then all the other Kangs are going to come back again. So now we
Hmm.
have infinite Kangs again. So, yeah, there it is.
Overall, I'm enjoying it. I'm still in the back of my head. I'm like, fuck, because I saw the IGN review. In this first 4 episodes, the first 2 episodes so far have been pretty good. I've enjoyed them quite a bit. I
Mm.
just hope it doesn't meander in the middle, kind of like Ahsoka did. Just, I'm
So
just.
far, it's been pretty fire hose of like action and stuff. So, um, we'll see. I've read reviews where people are also rather confused. They're kind of puzzled by everything, which it's time travel. It's not supposed to make sense. I guess
True.
that's our conclusion at the end. Once you step back and stop trying to make sense of it all, it's much more enjoyable. you know.
I'm sorry, I've kept you for far too long. Do you mind if we wrap it up here?
Sounds good.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. As always, we'll see you all next time. Have a good one.